Hello, everyone. I'll just give you all a few moments to log in. We can see people that are coming into the webinar. So just a few moments as we allow them in, and then we'll get started. For those already here, this is an interactive workshop, so please do go on to mentimeter.com and either scan the QR code or use the number code there. It should be quite simple to navigate. If we are speaking on our children's gaming, it's always important that we understand the gaming and interaction that's built into our children's lives. So if you'd love go over to Mentimeter, we'd love you to experience how gaming is fun, enjoyable, and can be part of this session. I'm just giving everyone a few moments to get into Mentimeter. This will be an interactive session, so it'd be wonderful if you go over and interact as we go through. I see there's some more people who've just come in, so I'm just going to repeat myself. Anyone who's just come in, you'll see on your screen www.menti.com. This is a great way for us to interact and see that we're not alone in this journey of understanding where our children are in the gaming world. So please do go ahead and take the QR code there and interact with us as we go through the session. Okay, we'll get started. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we're really going to be delving into the world of gaming. And I really enjoy these webinars that are exploring one topic in cyber safety. Cyber safety and digital literacy is so large that sometimes it can be overwhelming, and we will need the answers to one topic based on what our children desire and are enjoying in their online space. So today is a real way of us focusing in on the gaming community, why our children love to do it, is there risks, and what are they, and how do we mitigate them so our children can enjoy their gaming world. As I said, it would be great for you to start with communicating with us so we understand what landscape we're working with, and I can navigate the presentation to support what your needs are. So first of all, the question is, if you could describe your children's gaming habits in one emotions, what would it be? Fun, competitive, non-stop. Thank you for the transparency. Obviously, there is a competitive angle to gaming, and we cannot move away from the fact it's incredibly fun as well. And our children can be heavily addicted to wanting to be in their gaming spaces rather than the offline world, which we desire them to interact with. Now, this is a great one. Drag the ball to indicate where you stand. How confident do you currently feel in your ability to guide your children online activities? The next question, how well do you understand what your child does when gaming online, who they play with, what they say, how they spend? And the last one, how confident are you your child can make safe and responsible choices while they're gaming online? I'll just give everyone a moment to have a look and see how they feel about these questions. These webinars really allow for us to have some time of self-reflection, understanding what our concerns are, and putting them down into linear thought so we can start putting some rules and boundaries into place. And so everyone can see there where everyone's voted, and I'm very, very happy that we have the transparency existing in the answers. And the last one, what's your biggest concern when your children play online games? If you're not in menti.com yet, I see some more people have come in. Please do use that code at the top when you type into menti.com, and you can join us in answering some of these questions. And so the question is, what's your biggest concern when your child plays with online games? And we can see those concerns coming up. And there we have cyberbullying. Screen time is a vital concern. And I share your concern. I have three children of my own, and they are gamers, and they do like to stay there longer than I would like. So even though this is my day job, I really resonate with that. Thank you for sharing this. So, one of the places that we all start is to really consider what brings us here and what type of parent are we? So here we have understood there's three types of parents that we speak to. There's a newbie navigator, someone who was not born to the gaming world, doesn't really fully understand what it is and what elements of it the children are enjoying. They're here because they want to learn. And then we have the cautious pilot, the parent who dips in and out of their children's gaming spaces. They want to ensure and nudge them into the right behaviors while they're there. And then we have that parent in every room who is a gamer themselves, who actually, when they found out that we're having a child, really thought about, I can't wait to sit down and game with my child. They've understood the skill level, they've understood what they've enjoyed about it, and it's a part of their parenting. So it's good to know where you are on this and where you would like to get to as well. Is your desire to actually game with your child, or is it just to coach them to do the right thing when they're there? Now, as we saw there, one of the key concerns is obviously screen time. And we really need to consider our roles as parents and what the research says about why our children's screen time is very high. As a parent, we will all identify with the fact that we have busy schedules and we don't always have people that can support us in nuclear families. And so screen times become very important when playing the babysitter. Our children are a lot calmer when they're in the screen. And for us, it really helps us when we want to make sure that they're calm, that they're not causing an issue, and they are not driving us crazy. And screens can solve all those tantrums. If we want things to dissipate, we can put the screen in front of our child, and they are part of the culture. As children get older, they start to say, Mum, Dad, my friends are all on it. I want to play with them. I will be in a private server room with them. I don't understand why I can't have it. And so the peer pressure comes into it as well. And we, as parents, don't want our children to be isolated and allow for screen time. So, what is our role when we're looking at gaming and looking at our children wanting to be on these games, which have heavy virality? So, even if you haven't exposed them to Roblox or Fortnite, they have the language, they know what it's about. And so, sometimes we have the back foot in this situation. So, a parent's role in building safe game habits is one, to set active parent controls. Depending where we are in the world, parent controls have become part of the culture or aren't there at all. We need to consider what's the role and how can they support us as parents. We need to plug in that critical thinking. So much data has now shown in the age of AI that critical thinking with our children is starting to decline. We need to make sure that's not happening on other areas of the internet, but the gaming community as well. We need to enable our children. Every game that is created for the age of your child has a report and block feature on it. So when your child comes to gaming, you as a parent who downloads the app need to ensure they know where that report and that block feature is. And we have to engage and support them. Gaming, you will come up against risks, you will come across issues. Do we have the language and the knowledge to ensure when that happens, we know how to support them while they're having the gaming experience? So, why do kids love gaming so much? Let me talk to you about the platform, and this is in the Singapore context of where children are when we talk about gaming. So, Roblox, and there's some really interesting data in America that shows 3 out of 4 children are on Roblox. So we can assume that it's the same in every global nation where Roblox exists. It's highly addictive to children, it's highly interactive and fun, and I will go into Roblox in more detail so you understand what it is. But then Minecraft is the next, and that's owned by Microsoft. We have Subway Surfers, One of them that has really grown because it's actually free as well, and the League of Legends and Fortnite. So, which of these games has your child played? It would be great to understand if your child is enjoying these games as well, so we understand where we're talking about gaming risk. So please do vote, and we can see if your children are using any of these. For those new parents who have just come in, please do go up to the mentimeter.com, is at the top, and put in the code, and you can interact with us. I see quite a few parents haven't entered Mentimeter, so I do ask you to because it really supports us learning with each other. And we can see, yep, as with global trends, we have Roblox there with 100% of children using it. And my son himself uses this and my daughters. So I can see what it is, and we will explore this in more detail. Minecraft is also there. This is also explored in many classroom settings. So do ask your child if they do use it in the classroom because it has an educational element to it. Now, first of all, gaming is often a child's first digital community, and we want to understand the positives behind that. When communities online exist, they allow certain people into it. The gaming community allows children into it very young. And there are some actual benefits to gaming. Increases empathy in friendships. There is some deep research on this. And there is a teamwork and cooperation to the whole situation. You will hear your children say, my friends are there. If I leave the game early, the game dissipates. It's a real problem for me because there is cooperation in there. Games can support our mental health and boost cognitive skills. There is also research that is out there that shows it's beneficial to our boys because where they may feel very vulnerable in the playground, where they want to succeed and they fail and they're not so nice to each other, with gaming, they can sit in their own world, skill up at their own pace, and get to the next level, be able to go back into the playground and communicate to everyone of how well they've done. It gives them kudos. Of course, this needs to be in the guidelines of where they are and how long they're on there for. But it is a cognitive critical ability that is online. And whenever I do a talk like this, I do remind people the next CEO of Microsoft, TikTok, one of the large companies, will be a gamer. So it's important our kids do understand that gaming world. We have great positive games like Minecraft, and this is a great starter if you do want your child to start exploring the gaming world and you'd like to go there with them. Minecraft is built very much for children and it has a lot of safety settings in there. And so it's been seen to be a great starting pad. Think of it like Lego online, where they can build with pixelated blocks their own worlds, and children love to navigate and do that. When you're thinking about your child's screen time, I invite you to think about it in two ways. You have passive screen time and cognitive screen time. Passive screen time is when your child is watching YouTube, they're on reels, and they're just scrolling. You know they're passive because when you take away that device, they scream. You know, the demon comes out. We've all seen that as a parent. And once they calm down, the next thing they say is, I'm hungry or I need the bathroom. They've not been in their own body. They've not understood, you know, what's going on. And even if you ask them, what have you watched in the last 20 minutes? They probably couldn't tell you more than one or two of the last reels they've seen. Now, the great thing about gaming is that they're in active screen time. We still have the same conversations with our child, get off the game, but they will critically think through and negotiate with you. I need more time to get X. I have this loot box. There's something I need because they're still active. They're in their cognitive space. So that's something to be really aware of. In terms of the MOH's screen guidelines, there is a guideline that under the age of 18 months, we should not have screen time at all. From 18 months to 6 years, to keep that screen time under an hour, and then 7 to 12 to allow it to go up to 2 hours. So apply this on top of it. Can you keep those guidelines in the cognitive active screen time rather than the passive? Excuse me, just have a sip of water. Can you do that? Or can you negotiate with your child that, look, you can have 20 minutes of passive and then I will allow you to have more active screen time? So, do we really understand or know who we're playing with? When we look back at the poll that we just all supported and did together, one of the issues we had was I don't really know who my child is speaking to when they're in the gaming community. So, another question I'd like to invite you all to explore with me is what would your child likely do if a stranger messaged them? We know on platforms like Roblox, there are 80% of our children in Singapore who are speaking to strangers by the age of 11. Because if you haven't turned that chat feature off, anyone on the Roblox platform can speak to your child. So we are in a situation where our children may accidentally end up in a space where they're speaking to someone. What would your child likely do? So most people have said chat out of curiosity, which is human nature, is the reality that we're dealing with. So that's good that we recognize that. They may show it to a friend or a sibling first. So in an environment or a family where we talk about the digital world, this is something that happens. They will come over and say, look what I've seen. Look what someone's messaged me. What do you think? And so 11% feel like we're there with them coming to talk to us as a trusted adult. And it's great to see people have said that it would just block them straight away, putting them in a safe space. I want to show you this video and then we can explore the findings of it afterwards.
Started off while I was playing Minecraft on an online server, and I was I was just playing, like I was trying to build something and I didn't have enough resources for it. So I just asked the general chat. So then this person replied and I teleported over to where they were and I collected the resource from them. I thanked them, but then I ended up talking more with this one person and we ended up continuing conversation over private chat, and then it got a little bit deeper. Instead of it just being about the game, it was like, oh, how's life, how you doing, how's school. She kept fishing for information. You wouldn't see it at first, like, oh, I kind of wish that there was a better way to imagine you other than a Minecraft character. And then because I thought it was all innocent, but obviously not. So then I just casually described myself, oh, I've got black hair, I've got brown eyes, and that kind of normal stuff that I thought was like, oh, it's just for a general image. But of course, the groomer had other ideas for what to do with that information. Eventually, we stopped talking on Minecraft and we got onto talking on another app called Discord. And we went a little bit deeper. It was just more information. Like she kept trying to fish out of me, like where do you live, kind of. So I told her that we lived in Singapore. Other than that, I had ended up sending her pictures of myself and my family. Like, I felt it was normal talk. Like, I would talk about this kind of stuff with my friends, and I never really thought about it. Eventually, my mom found out about it because I was extremely fishy with my phone at that time. And so she asked me to let her have it. And so I was like, oh, well, I hope she won't see it. And as she was looking through my normal messages on like WhatsApp and messages, then a notification from Discord popped up and she saw it. So she was looking for the app on my phone, and I had actually hidden it in like a folder that I labeled unused at the back of the folder so no one would see it. So then my mom went into it, she looked at it, she read the more recent messages, and she was worried. So she told me that it was an online groomer, and she pointed out to me what the signs were, and I could see where she was trying to like lead me on to make me say more. So I messaged her one more time and I said that, oh, my mom found out about our messages and she found out that, and she thinks that you're an online groomer. And so she was saying, oh, that's your mom just trying to alienate us. She wants you to stay away from me and like online contact. And I could see that it was not right. Like friends won't say that kind of thing. And so I just kind of cut it off there and I was like, I'm not going to talk to this person anymore.
So, as you can see, it's quite easy for a child to end in a loop through trust. And online groomers will be in their space, taking time and be incredibly patient with getting that trust. 30%, 6% of Singaporean youth play game with strangers frequently. And I would say that's probably more. But, when we're looking at a survey, we can take that context and really consider our own child's behavior as well. And 14% of them have engaged strangers outside of gaming. Now, what a groomer or somebody with bad intentions is looking to do is maybe not to stay on the game and have a conversation with them, because games do have moderation in them and they may have certain words that cannot be communicated or will flag them up to a moderator. So, a motivation of somebody who's grooming a child is to get them off the initial platform, to get them off Roblox, to get them off of Fortnite, and get them into a space where they can communicate on an encrypted channel. So, your children need to spot red flags. Like if someone you're gaming with asked you to come and communicate with them on WhatsApp, that's a red flag. Why would they want to come off a gaming platform if they're a gaming friend into another app, which is encrypted where parents, no one can see what's happening? So that's something to be aware of when we're talking about this. We need to also understand the signs we need to watch out for. If your child suddenly says words that aren't in the vocabulary of the family and you know it's definitely not happening in the playground, it's come from somewhere else, there may be somebody who has the mind share of your child you don't know about. That's something we need to be really aware. If their behaviors, their language starts to shift, if there's secrecy around their phones or their devices, there is a number one rule in cyber safety that the device needs to be in a digital space within the family environment. That could be a sofa, it could be at the dining table. It cannot be the bedroom. The bedroom is a space where privates and secrets do occur, and we don't want that with a digital device at a young age. If they mention online friends as they are just friends. Now, with this generation, they don't navigate the digital space and the real world as two separate entities as we may. They may be talking about friends, and then you may need to clock in and say, is that a friend you've seen in the real world? At school, is that an online friend? Remember, they may see it as all one thing. They hide social life, skip outings, or get unexplained gifts. These are big things that you need to be aware of if they're coming in the house with small little trinkets or things like that, or they show mood changes. It's also important to realize, parents, that most people who are grooming our children don't want to meet them in the real world. They may not be in the same country, and they definitely don't want to get caught. So, what they're looking for is for a child to send photos. Those photos can be incredibly innocent, like your child licking ice cream, but it takes an adult mind only 2 steps to realize what could happen with that. So make sure that they understand as well. It's a red flag if anybody asks for any photos. They don't have to be explicit. It could just be of the family, you at school. They could say, look, I could make you famous. Send me a photo of you skateboarding. It is a hard boundary in the family never to send a photo to anyone. As a parent, what you can do is communicate to the gaming company by using the settings how old your child is. Most games that are very well known, like the ones we're speaking to, if you prompt them as a parent to say, my child is 12, my child is 10, my child is 8, they will then age gate them into a room and treat them of that age, meaning no adult accounts can speak to them, communicate, or reach out to them. If we have not communicated the age of the child and they've set themselves up as an adult, they will be treated as an adult. You can turn off the chat function in most games. If you cannot, check the age rating of that app, and then if it's not the right age for your child, don't be on the app. It was not designed for your child. And also turn off friend requests for strangers. We have all these parent controls up on our website, and you can go there for free and check out what's available for you. So, moving into another category of concern when we're allowing our children onto gaming platforms, and this talk is not about not having your children on gaming platforms, they will want to be there eventually. It's for us to have the wisdom and the thinking skills and the conversations to understand what they may be exposed to so we can mitigate and discuss that risk. So, what happens when play turns hurtful? And the stats show it does. And unfortunately, in the gaming community, it does in significant numbers. 80% of teens think harassment in video games is a problem for their age. Two in five have been called offensive names when playing, and 17% have been physically threatened through online gaming. One of the apps I'd like you to consider thinking of when we're thinking of this is Discord. Now, Discord is an app you may not be aware of, but it is actually a free app that really is like a chat room. Sorry, bear with me. Sorry, an alarm went off in the background there. Sorry, I was saying Discord you can consider like a chat room. In the old days, we may go into a chat room and speak to people on certain topics of interest. In COVID, became very big because while children were gaming, they couldn't hear each other. So they wanted another app where they could go into a room and communicate with each other, and Discord became very big. Now, if your child is using Discord and they're in a room with their friends, it is just them communicating with their friends. However, children get Discord links off of things like Pinterest or Twitter or Facebook, and they end up in groups with thousands and thousands of people. And they are not moderated for children. So, links on pornography will be there, really bad language, obscene content and memes, and the exposure is really, really significant. And we've seen massive cyberbullying happening in these Discord channels. So if your child has Discord, you need to have a conversation of why do you have Discord? Do you feel safe on the app? Who's in that room? And can I see it? There are safe spaces in Discord, but unless you enter those rooms, very much like the real world, if you don't enter a room your child is in, it's very hard for you to explore or understand what the risk is while they're there. Cyberbullying, unfortunately, goes unreported. And the MCI survey done in Singapore showed 48% did not take any action at all. Only 8% spoke to a parent about the experience. The reason we don't get children speaking to us is their biggest fear is you'll take the game or you'll take the device off of them. We have to remember that it is not the device or the game that's created the cyberbullying, it's the perpetrator, and they are a victim to that. So, what are the rules? What should we say to our child to ensure that they stay safe? If they feel like they are being cyberbullied, ask them at each situation to take a screenshot, even if they have themselves tried to fight back. Human nature is you'll always defend yourself first and then you'll reach out for support. So don't always get angry if you've seen them be a little nasty or swear back. Let's get back to the point of why they feel they're being a victim. Get them to understand they can block and they can report bullies. They they often think they can't because of the nature of bullying. There is a power imbalance that is plugged in there where the bully won't let them leave, will not let them get away, and so they feel like they need to say in that space. Tell them that they have the right to block and report anybody. Report to a trusted adult. Make sure they know you're there for them when this happens. And in Singapore, it is a crime to be cyberbullying. The law is in the favor of your child. If there is evidence, if there is communication we can look at, there is definitely more we can do to support you in ensuring your child is in a safe space. And start speaking to others. There seems to be a hidden toxic nature of saying, I've seen or I've felt cyberbullied. If we start to expose it, we can start to bring the trend downwards and explore how we can navigate kindness in our gaming community. Reporting cyberbullying. Look for the signs of distress that we mentioned. Show children how to report. Don't let your child go on any game without knowing the block or the report function, and have really open conversations. What did you enjoy about the game? What did you see today? Have you seen anything happening in your friends' lives we should be aware of? And model good upstander parent behavior. If you see things that are wrong, stand up, make sure that you tell other parents, look, I'm a little bit worried. We saw this. You might want to have a look out and see what's happening here. Now, what does a game link become when does a game link become a phishing trap? Let me explain phishing to you. Phishing is when someone is going out there with bad motivation to get hold of personal information. That could be, their where they live, their school, their national card. All this information can be weaponized. Where you can see a lot of phishing is on Roblox. And I've touched upon Roblox a few times throughout my talk. So let me pause here and explain to people what it is. It gets confused with being a game. Roblox is not a game. It is like the App Store or the Google Play Store, where they are a platform. And me as a developer, I can go and put my app up there for you to play. So at the moment, Grow My Garden is the biggest app that game in the app that children are playing, and that is being made with a developer who has good motivation. They want your children to be growing gardens online and nurturing things in their digital world. Unfortunately, there are games out there that don't have good motivation in them. Now, where Roblox is getting dangerous is it is set as adult for anyone who enters. And so if you don't actively go over and put on the parent control, the app is treating your child like an adult and is allowing people to engage and chat. And so that's where we find that we have issues with it. And there are lots of phishing attacks around Roblox. Roblox became very famous in COVID because they introduced one element, Robux, which is its own currency within the game. And your child would have asked you to buy Robux so many times, but at some point you've said no. And so the next thing they step out and do is look for free Robux vouchers and just type it into the internet now, free Robux, and you'll see so many scams just pop up. Now, children do fall for this very quickly. One of the conversations I have with them is when you've been on the MRT, has anyone offered you free money? Has anyone said, here's $100 for no reason whatsoever? And they will all say, no, that's never happened. And then you have to say, well, why do you think in Robux that people are giving you free money? Why would anyone give this for free? And get that critical thinking moving. Why is phishing so rampant? The rewards and sense of urgency that children want, they desire for, if they think they can get a level up, they will go for it. Anything to get more from the game. Children are incredibly vulnerable as well. Many of you have told your children your passwords. And so if you think from a bad actor, will I spend trying to get you to tell me your password, or can I go directly to your child and get your child to tell the password? So they are in a vulnerable situation where they have too much information as well. Games are often unsupervised spaces, so phishers know that children are there and they have time to communicate with them and time to get that information about the family accounts or knowledge of that. And children trust their games. They love their games. They have a relationship with them. Their school bag, their t-shirts all reflect the game that they love. And so the trust value is there, even if they've not understood the motivations behind people in the app. They need to be trained to think, is this too good to be true? Why are people offering me things for free? Teach the basics of cyber hygiene skills. Don't tell anyone your password. If they have apps that they use all of the time, set up an OTP on there. We have seen so many times Roblox, them losing their whole account when a friend has known the password, gone in there to take all their merch and then go off. So make sure they understand you don't share your password with anyone. These are your crown jewels, keep them safe. And explain the cost of in-game purchases. Another thing that's happening is a credit card gets set up to the account and they don't understand every time they're clicking, they're purchasing something. And we have unfortunately seen families lose thousands of dollars with this when children have just gone over and clicked. Are all games suitable for children? This is one question we get asked a lot. And this leads us into the conversation of digital media literacy. So first, let's start with a question. how does your child download games at home? If you could log back into Mentimeter, and I can see lots more parents have joined. So please do go over there and go to menti.com, and you can see the code there at the top that you can navigate with. So how does your child download games at home? We can see that quite a few do need permission for games, and they can only download anything, even if it's free, and then needs permission for paid games only. And I think that's on most parent accounts, that people have understood that can download any game without permission. Not sure, depends on the situation. It may not be something that you look at all the time, so you're not really sure where the settings lay on that. So if you're not sure, go over, and if you have younger children, do set that for that 50% of you already there needs permissions for all games, because as I'll go into, not all games are good. The next two slides or three slides are not really for the viewing of children. So if you are watching this with young children, the next slides are very much for the parent community. And I would just like to make you aware of that as we click forward. So the first thing I want to talk about is these free games. They're easily accessible. They are online and very easy touch points for children to download. And me as a parent, I love a free game. I don't want to pay for all these games they want that they play once and then they're gone. But one of the things we need to understand is there is a lot of violence and inappropriate ads within them. And we've spoken to, a few companies that have told us a lot of these free games, the money and the motivation behind the money from the in-app purchases go to really negative things. So we need to consider, why is this worrying content, these games, being pushed to our children all the time? What's the motivation behind that? One is to get them on board and then to pay for the in-app purchases. Two is to get their mind share, get them to view things that are highly inappropriate. And I'm sure parents will have seen over the shoulders of children, as have I, of them shaving, women's legs or popping pimples and really bizarre stuff. And so we need to consider, what are these free apps and what's the motivation? They are often seen incredibly violent gameplay, which they shouldn't be seeing at that age, which does worry them. They get to see or view toxic, abusive chats, and they're one step away from being part of the chat as they experiment with the free games. And then there's a lot of gore. Going back to Roblox as well, when you allow your child onto the Roblox platform, you need to know where they're navigating with inside the game. As I said before, there are people with good motivation, and those are the apps that they're playing now, Grow My Garden, Brain Rot, all these apps that they're really exploring, where there is not built to disturb your child, but there are apps just a click away that will disturb your child. So you can do some research on the condo apps. There's a Kim Kardashian sex game app. There's lots of things like that that exist on that platform, easily found by your child. So it's our duty to go into our children's Roblox, see where they're spending time, and ensure we navigate them to the games that we want them to be in and not the games that would cause them harm. Children who stumble across harmful content often can't look away. And we know that with human behavior as well. When you see a car crash on the street, the traffic does slow down. That analogy exists as well in the online world as well, where children see stuff, they pause, they consume, even though it's making them feel really bad. And it's starting to affect their digital well-being and really make them feel disturbed. So, how do we start to engage and support healthy habits at home? We've talked about the positives of gaming, the negatives and the risks. Now, I want to talk about our role. Our children will game, they will enjoy their games, and if they're in a safe environment for a safe amount of time, it can be an incredibly joyful space to be in. So let's start with our role. One, we need to apply the parent controls where we can. Now, this is difficult for older children because they may navigate away, they may set up an account that you are not aware of, but where we can and where we see that we still have room to have that conversation, please do set up those parent controls. Again, let us understand what the age gating has been done. From Singapore's IMDA, there are two labels for games. There's ADV 16 and then there's M18, and they have really looked at them and restricted use for those under the age of 18 and advisory of under the age of 16 as well. There are other great apps you can go to for the younger children. One that we love is Common Sense Media. Over there, you can see the app. You can see what adults of the same age or child have said, if they think it's appropriate or not. And you can see what the children have commented as well. So when children ask for an app, you can go to Common Sense, have a look at it and say, look, people have said this about it. Are you aware of these risks? People have said that you shouldn't be having it at this age. And you can see the advisory there. Even in the Play Store or the Apple Store, there is an advisory for each app as well. Going by those is very important because the technology is not built for younger. So if we're putting children on the app who are younger, that environment has not been sanitized for that child. What you can also do is go over to the parent controls either on Cyberlite, which I mentioned, but there is also parent controls made incredibly simple here with this link from gogov.sg. I will just pause here for a moment to allow you to scan that QR code. And a lovely one that we've put together here is a family agreement. It's very true that the whole of cyber safety is a monkey do, monkey see philosophy. As a family, come up with a pledge, something that you can all agree on and that they understand that they need to adhere to. So, family agreements can include not bringing the phone to the dinner table. Very, very pointed at dads there who seem to bring their phones a lot to the dinner table, not to take phones into the bedroom where it's an incredibly vulnerable space. So ensure that children have understood this is the agreement. If you want technology and you want access, I need to know that you are thinking. I will support you, and we're going to set up parent controls on these games. You can go over to that QR code, and the reporting is again very important. Report mean bullying messages. It makes you feel that you're in control and engage and support your children at home. Look out for signs of distress that we mentioned. Get involved. Games are fun. And even though actually I'm not a big gamer, I do try and game with my kids so I understand what it is they're enjoying, where they are sitting in there, and encourage the balance. Ensure that we look at those limitations, those boundaries. They've been set there with a lot of research and understanding. How can we, as parents, try and get ourselves within those guidelines? I'm just going to pause on this page as well as we go into question time. So please do submit your questions into the Zoom, and Michelle will help us with them. I know many of you have actually given us questions before today, so please do send those over. And Michelle, if you'd like to start with them, um,
Yes.
yeah, and I'll pause here for people to have a look at the resources that are available for Digital for Life as well.
Yeah, thank you, Nina, for the presentation. And thank you everyone for joining us this Saturday morning. Um, As you can see on the screen now, this webinar has been brought to you by Digital for Life. We have a few more webinars coming up in the coming months, so please make sure that you're subscribed to our newsletter because we have a nice series with Digital for Life and IMDA who are supporting us in this. Nina, do you mind just leaving it on the previous slide for now? Because I want to encourage everyone to scan that QR code to find all the resources and things that you see on screen. So while we're here, we are going to take a couple of Q&A questions if anyone has them right now. I see one has already popped up, so we'll spend the next 15 minutes addressing all of your questions. So Nina, the first question that we have here is, how do I know that my child is already addicted? The child gets angry every time it's time to put away the phone. This is definitely a question that we hear time and time again, so you're definitely not alone in this. With screen time addiction, or gaming addiction, sorry. I do want to point to the National Addictions Management Service website. I will answer it in the chat below, but that is our national website that you can actually go and see the signs and symptoms of gaming addiction, because it is such a complex topic to kind of go into. So we have some great guidance from our government there. The next one we have is, can we set up some email notification to the parent if the child has accessed any 18 plus apps on device? Any advice there, Nina?
Yeah, yes, you can. You need to have a parenting app. So Family Link on Google, if you have an Android, you can set your child up to ensure they can't download or even really see those games to exist. So that's a great app. The other one I would recommend is Custodio. I know that StarHub has a relationship with them. So if you have a StarHub customer, do have a look into that one. And the one I use at home is Kids Lock. So that's KIDSLOKX. And that just locks all of these from my children so they can't access them at all. And if they feel they want an app that they has been put up at 18, they have to come and talk to me and communicate with me. The answer is always no, but that allows you to have the conversation and understand what they're trying to download. It blocks it completely, and if they try to download it, it will tell you that they've tried to download it. And that's with all three of these products.
Yeah. There are, yeah, as Nina said, there are a lot of parenting apps out there. I think it's also just a matter of what works for you, right? Nina, I know for yourself, you've gone through quite a few different apps to see which one works for each of your children.
Yeah, so I always say that though it's our duty to put on a parent control, it will drive you mad. You will rip out your hair and want to cry, especially if you have more than two kids. So you just have to sort of do it. It's an unfortunate, circumstance where we have to go through that pain. And since we have AI, ChatGPT has helped me set up a lot of those hidden things that I've never been able to find before. So do use that to support you.
Yeah, and I love the next question. Are there any books to read together with my child to teach digital safety?
Yeah, so we have written two books. One, Ready, Get, Set, Connect, which is for 7 to 12 years old. We are very proud. This has sold over 200,000 copies and goes out to the schools in Singapore for absolutely free. So either let us engage your school and we will get that to you. We also have a new book called The Ultimate Guide to Cyber Safety, which is more for children who are really 13 plus to go into the real deeper understanding, and their worksheets for them to critical think things through. And we'll send you a link to that as well and see if they support what you're looking for.
Yeah. The next one we have is, how can we build this notion of agency within our children? Love this question. Like crossing the roads, the digital roads are here to stay. It's the future of the world they're going in. So resilience and agency is something that we should really, really instill into our children. So at what age does this make sense to start? I'm assuming to start this kind of education with the child.
So we start now as young as 2 years of age. The reality is, by the age of two, a child is online for 2 hours a day, and very much in the gaming space as well. So, fortunately, in Singapore, so those of us who have tuned in from Singapore, this is taught within the education system as well. The critical thinking of the cyberspace and cyber wellness is part of the curriculum. And with other, I can see we actually have a global audience here. With others, you can really sort of look at some of the resources we have and also Singapore has about how to start these conversations earlier. As a parent, just bring it into every single conversation. Like, how was your day? How were your friends? What did you do online? Before a child goes on any app, gaming, social, etc., ask them to identify the risks of the app. And if they can't tell you, they're not ready for the game, Conversation starters, we have loads of those on our own website because we just don't know where to start the conversation. It's not that we were born into this world. So we've really prompted you with some conversation starters. So look at those and see what you can do.
Um, Yep. I want to address one of the questions that did come through in the pre-registration. So when you all signed up, we also gave you a chance to submit some questions. So could you address any potential risks for girls in particular? And I think that's such an important question that we should discuss. Now, based on the Microsoft's online safety survey this year, there are no big differences in online safety for boys versus girls, but anecdotally, we do know that there are some differences that we hear from students in Singapore and around the world where girls are facing different types of discrimination when it comes to games. As we know, games are dominated by boys. That's just the reality, not like a blanket discrimination. But girls who love playing also face some risks. So, Nina, do you want to elaborate more on that?
Yeah, so there is actually, we see all the time a gender situation, and we know that a lot of girls set up their gaming accounts to show themselves as boys, and they won't put their mics on if it is an interactive game to keep themselves in a safe space. It is a heavily toxic masculine space, both with the language, how they speak to women. There's a lot of misogyny on there. And so it's for, first of all, girls to identify that they are allowed in these spaces. They're allowed to game and they're allowed to enjoy gaming. Switching off the chat feature, allowing them when they're when they're younger than 15 years of age, to explore the game without having to navigate or communicate with others. And as they get older, as parents realize they do want to communicate, that's half of the game. And then make sure that they have the skill to communicate backwards and be in safe spaces. Get them to find servers or spaces where girls are playing. There is a lot of esports where women are attracted to, where they can be in safer spaces. So just make sure they don't get into toxic spaces or highly misogynist spaces, and just keep an eye out on that they're not feeling bad or emotionally affected by that.
Yeah, we do know that a lot of cyberbullying research has been done, and we do see higher rates of cyberbullying targeted at females, at girls, and also just minority groups in general. Okay, so moving on, we got two more questions come through. What are some of the detoxing approaches from overuse of gaming that you can suggest? Should we point back to kind of the differences of screen time? I think that's a great way to kind of think about overusage of the screen and how that applies to gaming.
Yeah, so the World Health Organization actually really defines the difference between passive and active screen time. So that's one way. But as a parent, I feel that this can be answered by us putting boundaries around what we find appropriate within our household. We have to make the effort to not use it ourselves as something to pacify our children and go through that friction when they do want to only be online, and allow them to sit and be bored until they do something else as well. So be very clear with that family agreement that we've presented, that if I've said 2 hours, I stick by that boundary and explain why that boundary exists. I see that your cognitive thinking, not in this language, but cognitive thinking, critical thinking, it really starts to affect our children. We see children coming in to preschool with not the same language skills as children before them. So we can't remove ourselves and our responsibility of keeping to that boundary. And as a parent, I know it's hard, but once that parent control sets the whole of the screen to black and says your 2 hours is up or your 1 hour is up, we need to then ensure that they have something active to do afterwards. So always have something in your hand as well that says, right, screen time's up. I want you to come into the kitchen and cook, or I want you to go and do, some craft activity. I've put something out for you. So it's a simple step over to like, you need to be doing something else. So those are some strategies that work.
Yeah, and I would also like to share that we do have conversation starters on our website. I can paste that link again into the chat. But the conversation starters that we have are just a set of simple questions that you can ask your child to open up a discussion. Things like, why do you like playing the game? What is the motivation? Sometimes you do uncover deeper motivations for playing the game, like they're trying to escape something at school, they're having a tough time kind of processing different types of emotions, so they turn to gaming, and then that leads to excessive gaming. So please do check out those resources on our website as well. They're all there to help and support families. The next question I have here is, how can we have character training, value systems of being a human, really carrying themselves with respect, empathy, social emotional learning? I guess the question is very much, how do we build that character in children?
Yeah, so I feel that as parents, there's a natural inclination to build this into our children. The way we can navigate onto the digital world is to ensure the conversations and the value system you're teaching outside also works with them in the digital world as well. So simply, if you have younger children, to be kind, to be respectful, and then to use that language when they're also online, when they start to discover WhatsApp groups in school or class, when they tell you about someone being bullied on there. Prompt and critically think through, what would you do if this person was in front of you? What would you do if you could see into their eyes? And this really starts them to really trigger the empathy, especially with competitive gaming. Children can often forget the person on the other side is an actual person and just want to win their own motivation. So as adults, we need to then clue back in and say, that's your friend. Hopefully it's people they know in the real world. We need you to really consider this. So explore how you can bring your own value system into their digital world. The average child spends 30% of their life to 40% online. So we can't just give up on our parenting only in the world that we can see them in.
Yeah, and I think it's the idea that uh, for children, it's no longer an offline world and an online world. It's just their world as one, right? Whereas us as parents or as adults, we do see them kind of separate. And having that mindset switch of whatever you're teaching in the offline world, as we say, should be the same as online. I'll give it a couple more minutes to see if anyone else has any more questions to ask. But I do want to do some housekeeping. So this session is being recorded and it will be available on our YouTube channel. So we will have a follow-up email with everyone here, sending you the links if you want to share it with other parents or whoever else might find this useful. And we will also be sharing a feedback link that we encourage everyone to fill out after this, because that allows us to keep these webinars free for everyone. And it also just kind of gives us a better understanding of what other types of content you'd like to see from us in the future. So we do have one more coming in. Who is policing the online space? Do you not think that gaming companies need to ensure more regulation?
Yes, I do. I definitely do. However, that's not always in the jurisdiction of the nation or us as individuals. So we need to lean this back into the reality of the situation. While governments are having conversations at policy level, really are doing the deep thinking on understanding how to navigate this. And it's different everywhere. So in China, there's a limitation to only 2 hours of gaming, and that's heavily enforced. The same in Saudi Arabia. Malaysia just banned Roblox this week. So those conversations are above my pay grade. What I come down to is, how can I police it? What can I do for my individual? Because even these big policies will work at that level, but working at your level with your child, it's just you. So it's down to what you put in the conversations that you're having and for you to put that in place. While there is a lot of conversations happening, and that we follow the news all the time, and we can see strong motivation. Singapore has some great laws around cyberbullying. It's one of the only countries that has a robust and accessible approach to cyberbullying, because many people say they do things and they don't. So that's something very exciting that is happening in that space, and lots of thinking with a new e-commissioner coming out in the next, I don't know the timeline, I'm not privy to that, but we have a lot of interest and access to having more of these conversations within the Singapore landscape.
Okay, thank you. I see there's no more open questions in our chat. Feel
Great.
free to come to our website and contact us directly if you think of any other questions after this. We will, Nina, sorry, if we can just kind of go to our last slide just to share with everyone our website, cyberlite.org. So feel free to just send us a message directly if you have any questions. And again, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us on this Saturday morning.
Thank you very much. And thank you for all the kind comments that are coming through. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you.
Bye.